You are now tuned into Reppin Sessions podcast. Exclusive interviews with White Oak Roughneck legends. Follow on Instagram and Facebook. Reppin the Roughnecks.
Reppin Sessions podcast. It's episode 6, guys. It's Friday. It's homecoming. And we have the legendary Mike Barber in the house with us today. And we're just going to jump into it. We have James here as well, the co-host. And thank you, Mike, for being here, man. We really appreciate it. We know homecoming's real busy.
My honor. Happy to be here. I get to be here. I don't have to be here. I get to be here.
Mike, I remember when I was a senior, you were a junior. You may not remember this, but before the season started, I don't know if we were down there getting pads or whatever, but there wasn't anybody but me and you in the dressing room, and I said, now, Mike, I know you're probably going to be the quarterback, and I'm a senior, and all us seniors, we're going to be behind you, and if you have any problem, just let us know. Do you remember me saying that to you?
I've been hitting the head too much. I don't remember that, but if you said it, I know you did.
Did you have any problems that year?
No, I was always well protected with you.
Yeah,
guys.
I don't think anybody got over me to get to you that year. I that's one thing I was proud of. Whenever you dropped back, nobody ever got in.
My success was because you guys gave me plenty of time.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to talk about any particular game? And you remember the West Rush game?
Yes. Yeah.
You remember, we've already grilled, Hawthorne's already taken a hard time about the article, about the toy, enough said.
Yeah.
And we got on him pretty good when we did our podcast. What did you think about that? They were pretty tough that night.
Well, they were very physical, and we knew that going in, and it was just pretty much the team that made the least amount of mistakes because there wasn't really a loser on that field. And we were fortunate, though, that we came out on top. And one big, huge reason why we came out on top with so many games is because in White Oak, with the coaching staff that we had, there was really no such thing as an off season. We worked just as hard in the off season as we did in season.
Or harder.
And so, exactly. And so there was really no such thing as an off season. We were in season year around the clock with the coaches. But the thing is, all the players accepted it. And we did it.
You remember that Friday night, the grass, they let it cut a little bit high.
That's right.
And
they
we
sure did.
We were gasping.
Yeah.
And boy, I tell you what, that next week we ran extra wind sprints, and we went over to White House. We beat them 36-0, and we wasn't, we wasn't hard. It was just as hot.
Now that you said that,
we wasn't sweating.
Yeah, you couldn't even see your cleats so high.
That's right. And I tell you, now, I don't know. I taught history for 34 years, and they all got on me when I had all my bunch about remembering every little detail. I can remember pretty much, what has happened at different times and everything.
Well, you'll have to remember from me. I'm not that good.
Hey, that's what Denton said. Okay, we got that, and and we rolled along, and then we beat Overton 54-0, and then we had Spring Hill, and
Speaking of Spring Hill, was the rivalry big back then when you played?
Very much. Yes.
Was it rowdy and just
it was everything and above, from the field to the stands.
I told him that we switched. We traded Hallsville for Spring Hill because we quit playing Hallsville. They went up.
Exactly.
And, but we did scrimmage Hallsville, and that was a very fiery scrimmage.
That was as physical as any team we played was Hallsville. I thought, in my opinion. Yeah.
And then we rolled on to. We beat them, and then we had homecoming, and we played on a Saturday night. It was a special.
Byron Franklin was their middle linebacker.
Yeah.
And his freshman year, he was so much bigger than every one of us. And his senior year was my senior year, so I played him since the freshman on. And fortunately, he didn't grow anymore. As big as a freshman as he was as senior, but he was a tough football player, great athlete, and from time to time we'll cross paths and we will visit. Just a tremendous gentleman, a man, a father, and but They were always the team in the district to beat every year, the best that I remember.
They were, from the time you were, let's see, 69, 70, and 71, they were 27-3. They lost to White Oak 3 times.
Wow.
And of course, by today's standards, we would have played them again in the playoffs down the line.
Yeah.
But they were tough. And then,
Yeah.
of course, we pretty much had an easy road.
Episode 6 with Mike Barber is brought to you by Farrah Nicole Photography. With 9 years experience, Farrah Nicole Photography takes it to the next level with your seniors. Whether it's bringing to life your vision or her imagination, bringing a new twist to the shoots, rest assured you will love your photos for years to come. So call Farrah Nicole Photography today and let her capture your memories. Tell her Reppin sent you. 903-445-2241. Call Farrah now. Proud sponsor of Reppin Sessions.
And then I brought something up to you about kind of funny. I carried Catherine Dallas to the fair, and she sees this bear. She said, "You to throw the ball through the tire and win the bear." And I said, I can't. I'm not a quarterback. I can't throw that ball. And then here comes Mike Barber walking along. I said, "Mike, come here. Here's some money. Throw that ball through the hoop." And Mike did it. And next thing you know, here comes somebody else from White Oak. Throws the ball. He does the same thing. Before you know it, Mike had almost broke that carnival guy.
Get ran off.
And they ran Mike out. Mike,
That's funny. I remember that.
Mike was on
and I
target.
went back a few other times, and the guy recognized me.
He said-
He would not let me. He would not let me. So
Then we got in the playoffs, and we played Timpson in by district, and we beat them 47-13. It was 39-0 at the half. Denton knocked out one of their best players on a kickoff, and it was 6 or 7-0. Then Coach Griffin told me to go in and run 23 veer and tell Mike to hand the ball off. And I told Mike to hand the ball off. Lo and behold, the guy blitzed, the linebacker, and you read it. I hit him, and me and him both fell in the hole. And I said, I hope Mike didn't hand that ball off, because I couldn't see it. And I looked up and I saw him tackle you about the 3-yard line. And Coach Bratton, he bragged on me. He says, "Yeah, that was good." That guy called me every name he could think of. Told me to hurry up and get up. And I said, "Well, he's down there now. You can't catch him." Anyway, at the half, Coach Griffin apologized. He says, "I told y'all they had a real good ball team." And he says, "Evidently they don't." And we ended up beating them 47-13. And then the next week was the ball game against Paul Pewitt. How did you feel going into that ball game?
oh wow,
Remember, they had a chip on their shoulder from the year before. They thought they'd scored.
right.
We're going to get Charlie Owens over here on that.
Yeah. Just another tough opponent, and I really don't remember all the details of the game, but at that point, we were so successful, we were a target for everybody. Everybody wanted to knock White Oak off, and that's the way you want it. You want to be the target. Come get us. Jump on. Let us know when you're on.
First, I think it was first or second offensive play, you threw a pass to Hawthorne, and they tackled him on about the 3-yard line.
Yeah.
And so,
Okay.
I don't know. I was blocking on one of the boys that had done a lot of mouthing. He was a sophomore, and I told Coach Griffin, I said, "Coach Griffin, he keeps kind of stunting towards the center." So he said, "We had the 35X or something where you handed the ball to Winford." He said, "Let's run that." Went in there, I hit that boy, knocked him all the way to center, and Winford walked in, and it was on. And then we were ahead, I think 22-7, and then they had the ball, and they had a long, about 13-play drive, and they finally scored, and it was 22-13, and they went for 2, and then they didn't get it, and that was pretty. We ended up winning that ball game 34-13.
Yeah.
I've read 2 different things on some of your overall career stats when you're at White Oak. One says you passed for 2,300 yards, and one said for over 4,000. Do you know the correct number of yards you threw for a while at White Oak?
Probably the 4,000 would probably be combined passing and running, be my guess. But we didn't throw the ball enough for me to throw 4,000 yards. I would think that would be wrong. Yeah.
I know James has mentioned if they ran the offenses like today, he said he would love to see you back in that shotgun formation.
It's been a different story.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And y'all were already putting up what y'all averaged like.
Especially with the receivers that we had. And they all had not one or two, which is very rare, but all the receivers that we had, if they touched the ball with their fingers, it was a catch.
They would have had Winford, Miles, and Hawthorne split out, and Codrick tied in. And then
Steve Terry was good my senior year. He was excellent. Richard Smith was excellent. Paul Dow was a very good receiver. And so we were really blessed. And on top of that, we had an offensive line that was very good. And so it was fun times.
Who was your favorite wide receiver to throw to in your 2 years?
I think that Richard Smith had a lot of speed. His brother, Steve Terry, was good. And actually, Paul, we kind of spread it out. I can't say I had just one single receiver. And but on top of that, then you didn't read defenses. You called the play, and pretty much it was designed, throw it to so-and-so. And, of course, if the play went, didn't show him, then I'm going to look somewhere else. But as a whole, we wasn't ever taught to read a defense, cover 2, cover 4, 3 sky, it wasn't during those days.
So what was it like being a all-state, all-American quarterback in White Oak?
Well, as a little bitty kid, for whatever reason, I can honestly look you in the eye and tell you that I started speaking one day I'll play pro football. And, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. That starts in high school, really in junior high.
Absolutely.
And the success of White Oak at the high school level was our 7th and 8th grade in JV play. They were the foundation, when they talk about the varsity, but our success was that 7th and 8th grade and JV team. They were well coached, and so they walked into really their sophomore year with a great deal of confidence that we're going to win because I know what I'm doing, and our coaches didn't just coach the play, as the way I put it, they coached the why in the play. Why I step with my outside foot first or my inside foot. The ball's going out here, therefore this is why. And when you're coached like that, it gives you such a great deal of confidence. But anyhow, I worked hard. Fear drove me. Our family was so poor. We spelled poor with 3 O's. I wanted to be successful.
Were you a quarterback in 7th and 8th grade too in middle school?
I was the quarterback, yeah. And so we kept working and working, but, and I don't say this because this is the nice thing to say, but it's the right thing to say. I only made it because of my teammates. We had good players. We didn't have great players, but coaches can take an average player and make them good, and take a good player and make them great.
Absolutely.
And we had that at every single level when I was back here at White Oak. And so, man, I'm recruited by every Division I school in America. That's what they told me. And but we had a coach on staff, the famous and great Tommy Atkins. And his best friend, quote unquote, in the world was the defensive backfield coach at Louisiana Tech. And so, they were on my doorstep as a sophomore, just visiting. And then I asked Coach Atkins, where do you want me to go? And he made a real clear point to me, because Texas was after me, and OU and A&M. And he made a great point that I would have overlooked. He said, well, Mike, and of course I was being recruited as a quarterback. He said, they all run the wishbone. There's no future running the wishbone. I said, well, Coach, I think I know where you want me to go. Where do you want me to go? He said, you can't mess up Louisiana Tech. There was some guy, I forget his name. Oh, Terry Bradshaw. That's who. And he had just left. And, of course, they had Terry call me a few times and just visit with me on the phone. And so he gave me a good breakdown. And so I never visited Tech. I just, okay, Coach, I don't care about the crowd. You know, I want to go where they play good brand of football and well coached. And as young as I was, I knew better. I can't do it by myself. It takes coaching. So anyhow, got there and man, immediately. And the other thing why I chose Louisiana Tech, Paul, is they let me run track. And I worked up into the top 10 hurlers in the country my first 2 years in college. And, you know, speed's everything. And, you know, Tommy Atkins was our track coach at high school, and he was the best of the best. We won state my senior year in track.
Right. You won state in hurdles?
In the hurdle sprint relay, and it just built a great foundation. And so, you know, my freshman year at the end of a track practice, a hard track practice, in the spring of my freshman year, there were 22 pro scouts down there in the corner of the track. And if you remember the defensive back of the Dallas Cowboys, Cornell Green, mm-hmm. He was an all-pro defensive back for the Dallas Cowboys. Well, I didn't know it. But my coach who recruited me, E.J. Lewis, he whistles at me at the end of track practice. Come down there. Yeah, he says, get down there and show these scouts how fast you can run. I said, Coach, no.
Tired out.
I'm exhausted. Get your butt down there. Yes, sir. You know, and so, and this is on record, and I'm not making this up. And so my first 40 was the 4.38. You know, I'm 6'3", 230. And Cornell's Green, remember in the old Sports Illustrated, they used to have a column, 1 or 2 pages into the Sports titled, They Said It. And it made that column. Cornell Green yelled out and said, whoo, that's the fastest white boy I've ever seen in my life. And it made that. And so run it again. You know, and all the pro scouts, they all got pretty much the same time. So, but anyhow, they made me. I said, Coach Lewis, please. So anyhow, second I ran 4.4 flat. And from that time, my whole world changed. Here come everybody in the NFL wanting this white boy to run for them, you know. But I say all that to just say that's impossible without the foundation that the White Oak Roughnecks gave me. You know, nobody is successful by themselves, you know. And I like to put it like this: the old country boy salesman driving down the country road, and he looks up and he puts his car in reverse and he goes backwards. And he can't believe what he's seeing, and sure enough, there it is. There is a turtle sitting on top of that fence post. Well, you immediately say, you know he didn't get there by himself. Somebody had to put him there. I didn't get where I was by myself. People that put me there. And so the rest is history. My sophomore year, my very first game is my sophomore year. We fumbled the opening kickoff of the season. And we finally get on it on the 6-yard line. So we got 94 yards to go. Very first play of the season, my very first play as a starter. Fake 24, Z go. They put me out wide. And I could see the defensive back looking at me like, what is this honky doing out here? You know? We had a great running back, Quick Six McDaniels, and so they faked it and I jogged off. And I saw the defensive back look inside. And as soon as he looked inside, before he knew it, I was 10, 15 yards beyond him. So my first catch was for 94 yards.
Jeez.
Which is a school record still today.
Wow.
And then my next 5 in a row. So my very first 6, actually it was 7, one was called back. My very first 6 catches all went for touchdowns in college. And my shortest catch, I think, was 42 yards. And then all of a sudden it caught on the boy could run. And I was double teamed from there on out my whole career. And, you know, bam, 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 I'm All-American, first team, Division I.
Did you do all 4 years in college? Or did you?
Yes,
yeah.
You couldn't do it. So as a Division II school, I was Division I All-American my junior and my senior year. And there again, it all goes back to that all dare. And I'll tell you a true story now that it comes to me. My senior year, I made the high school all-star game. And the game was in the Dome, Astrodome. At that time, the Dome wasn't 6, 7 years old. And we went down there, and I think it was on a Thursday. We got there on a Sunday, and we started practicing on Monday. And Thursday, I think, we were going to get to practice inside the Dome. And of course, all of us kids, especially in White Oak, Texas, population 1,200 on a good day, both city limit signs on the same post. And we walked in there, and my eyes just, how is that ceiling standing without any poles? But anyhow, I laid down on the 50-yard line. This is a God honest truth. Didn't say nothing to nobody. I laid down on the 50-yard line. I looked up and I said, I'll be back. And had no idea that 5 years later that I'd be the Oilers' first pick. And I can remember this, the very first time I went back in that dome. Now I'm a Houston Oiler. Well, what's on a White Oak Roughneck helmet?
Old Derek.
All Derek. What's on the Houston Oilers helmet?
Old Derek.
And I went out there and I laid down on the 50-yard line. And I looked up and I said, I told you.
Holy cow.
And that's a true story.
Yeah.
And I'm just I'm so thankful. And I'm not going to be in the record books. We ran the football.
Yeah.
Howard Cosell pulled me over to the side one time. We were playing the Jets Monday Night Football, and he knew more about me than I did. Michael Barber, number 86, number 7 in White Oak High School. And then he goes to number 16. And he goes, I'll tell you one thing, Mike Barber. If you would have been with a throwing offense instead of the great Earl Campbell and the Eric Dickersons and the running back, you'd have been one of the top tight ends ever, but you got to catch a lot of footballs to get recognition for all pro. And 7 of my 10 years I blocked for the number 1 running back in the league, Earl Campbell, Eric Dickerson. But I wouldn't trade anything. I loved it. And
but Mike, that wasn't your first foray down in that part of the country. Remember when we went down to Deer Park?
Yeah, we sure did.
And you ran that night you ran a 96-yard touchdown that got called back on a susceptible.
Remember that?
Winford didn't block. He didn't clip. He had his head around.
Yeah.
And you remember how bad we played in the first half and how good we played in the second half?
Yeah.
We got torched at the half.
Yeah.
Back when you were in White Oak, I could only imagine what type of notoriety you would have as far as social media. Where you were the number 1 quarterback in Texas, right, in your senior year?
That's what they said.
Yeah. So I couldn't imagine if in today's world, with your social medias and everything, you would probably be just a huge following, right? So I have a question. With the new NIL rules, where the kids can forego their senior season, like the big number 1 time quarterback out of South Lake.
Yeah.
Would you have ever considered that, like your senior year? Could you have ever imagined not playing your senior year?
I'm a firm believer that you need 4 years of college in more ways than one. Just from the maturity, how to handle the pressure. At the top, it's just huge pressure because it's no longer a game; it's a business. But at the same time, if somebody offered you wouldn't say no. You wouldn't do it. So, there's a balance there, but you see all the mess and the trouble that the NFL is having now because they're making multi-million dollar kids that are only 18, 19, 20 years of age, and they don't know how to handle it, and the majority of them don't handle it. But here's the fact. The salary when I played, I was the first pick. My first year's salary was $35,000. Today it'd been $35 million. I went home, slapped my mother for having me 10 years early. You know what I'm saying?
What round were you picked in again? You said you were the Oilers' first pick.
I went at the top of the second round, but they traded the first round, and so I was their first pick. Bum Phillips used to get on to me. I'd say second round. He goes, no, you're not. You are our first pick, and don't ever let me hear you say anything else. So Bum was like a dad to me. We were very, very, very close. And when he passed, I was with him. I stayed with him the last 30 days of his life. I changed his diaper. I took care of him to give his wife a night's rest. And just days before he passed, I said, Coach, you stink. I'm putting your butt in the shower. And I said, you stay right there in that wheelchair and I'll be back, and put me some shorts and a t-shirt on. I came back, stripped him off naked. I'd have had a chair put in the shower. And at 90 years of age, he never lost his humor. When I picked him up, he said, Michael, when's the last time a 90-year-old man mooned you? And that was my coach, but we were very close, and I had shared Christ with him, and he gave his life to the Lord, and he spent his last 14 years in prison with me, giving his testimony, and he could say more in 2 minutes than I could say in 2 hours, just because of who he was. Actually, I'm going next weekend to Tennessee. At halftime, he's going to be inducted into the Houston Oilers, and me and a few other players will be there to be a part.
That's awesome.
Of the service.
It is.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mike, I have a question. This is a Louisiana Tech question. You went down there. Did you go down there to play quarterback, and what happened?
Yeah, I went down there to play quarterback, and the day I told you I ran in front of the 22 Pro Scouts. Well, that was a wonderful thing, but it was the end of my career as a quarterback. Back in those days, a big, fast type wasn't heard of and wasn't recognized. And so the Pro Scouts told my head coach, he's too big, he's too fast, and he needs to get his hands on the ball. And they didn't even tell me. But the next season, I look up, and I'm no longer the quarterback, and I'm playing receiver. And after that very first game where I caught the 94, tight end went down, and so they moved me inside the tight end, quote unquote, for just a few weeks until we get our tight end back. And I was bigger than him, and definitely a lot faster. But I never left there, So God knew what He was doing. I was in the right place. I didn't have the right temperament. I like to fight too much, and you can't do that as a quarterback. And so it all worked out. And for me, that's how it happened.
And all my time playing with you, I never saw you get real mad on the field.
Yeah.
I know you got mad.
I had a Tommy Atkins that threatened my life if I did stay calm.
You did a real good job of controlling, maintaining yourself and everything.
Well, I could take it off on defense playing middle linebacker.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So would you like playing better, quarterback or linebacker?
All these years, I'd have much rather played defense.
Really?
I love hitting people, and I love the defensive side of the ball. And I begged for the first couple of years in the league. I begged Bum to give me a try at linebacker, because my spring of my freshman year, I finally talked them into letting me play defense. And I immediately worked right up to the first team defense. And I'm doing that while I'm still running track at the same time. And that's when all those scouts came. And it was over. No more defense, no more quarterback, nothing. And so, but like I said, it all worked out in the end, and I wouldn't trade.
Mike, how was it playing? You had Winford and you had John Griffin down, two people you played with at White Oak. How was that?
Well, it was special. John and I roomed together, the whole time that, his remainder of his years there. And I went against Winford a whole lot, and I'd get tickled. I remember there at one time I ran a deep route, and he was on me like glue, and I just reached up with one hand and I caught the ball, and it was for about a 40-50 yard play. Well, Coach Lewis, the guy who recruited me, Tommy Atkins, his best friend, he's the defensive backfield coach. And I purposely jogged all the way ball back, and I gave it. And I said, Coach Lewis, I said, here, don't get mad at him. He's giving his best effort, Come out Winford and line. laugh. Basically, Winfrey started all 4 years there, and I never understood why he did not make it in the NFL. He was a lot better cornerback than a number of corners that I played against.
Didn't he? He got tried out there with the Oilers, didn't he?
I don't remember.
I think
I don't
he did.
remember that. I don't remember that, but he was a heck of a football player. He was smart.
He didn't get drafted.
Yeah,
but
he
got tried.
as a cornerback, he wasn't the fastest, but
He
his
was
smarts,
so quick. He
his
was so
smarts
quick.
made up for it. Yeah, I had the NCAA follow me almost my entire
So it was pretty
first
strict
year
back
at
then
Louisiana Tech. Just knowing Louisiana Tech offered me. Why would a guy that every Division I school here go to a Division II school?
Yeah.
But all they offered me was a scholarship, and I went because my high school coach where I want you to go, and that was it. I didn't even visit. I'd have visited, I wouldn't have went because facility-wise, I went way backwards. Because White Oak was the wealthiest 1A school in the state of Texas at that time, and now they've given it all away, and now they're poor. And,
He's right. He's telling you the
it's
truth.
ridiculous, you know. But no, nobody never ever offered me. Got some offers in college, but OU me. Of course, that'd be in total denial. They took a quarterback that same year out of high school. We were teammates actually in the high school all-star game. And since I told them no, One-Eyed Bandit Lacewell was a coach there.
Yeah.
And they took this other guy, and it wasn't very far into the season. They got suspended because of what they gave him and whatever. No, Tech just offered me. My carrot was they're going to let me run track.
Reppin Sessions podcast, episode 6, brought to you by Prospect. Prospect is dedicated to helping East Texas athletes achieve greatness. With experience helping high school athletes receive scholarships, JUCO players reach D1, and even pushing NBA players to the next level. If you want to be a prospect, contact Prospect, guys. Telling you right now, Joe's the man to go see. If you have any student in middle school, high school, heck, a Little Neck, man, get him with Joe. He's going to take him to the next level. Be ready for the big ball on Friday nights. Telling you, go see Joe. Let him know Reppin sent you. Contact Joe at 214-914-8524. And remember, tell him Reppin sent you. Prospect and Joe are proud supporters of Reppin Sessions podcast.
I went into college football starting in the 7th grade all the way through my senior year with only 4 losses. I never lost a regular season game. In my 7th grade through my 12th, I never lost a regular season game. And I get to college, and we won the national championship, Division II, my freshman and my sophomore year. We had the longest streak in the nation, 23 games going on. I didn't lose a game my entire freshman year. And we didn't lose until halfway through my second. And we lost one game my sophomore year, one game my junior. So I went into the NFL with a total of, 8 losses. That was it. So losing, what's that? We ain't having it. And when we start my first year playing preseason, I didn't understand it don't count. I'm getting all jacked up, and they say, Barber, chill, it's just preseason.
Yeah.
No, it ain't, it's a game. You know?
Yeah.
But it didn't take me long, though, to figure it out.
Well, you know, I always was thankful anytime we got beat, it was the last game of the year. We didn't have to face those coaches down there on Monday morning.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know,
Yeah.
they were tough. They loved us, but they were tough on us, all of them.
Yeah. But we got beat in high school. We got beat by a good team. You know, you could say we beat ourselves, but no, they were legit. And I think every team that beat us won the state championship. I may be wrong on that.
No, Pflugerville didn't. Pflugerville got beat.
Didn't, okay.
Do you remember that game much?
I remember it, but I don't remember the legit details.
Were they that good of a defense? I mean, what do you think caused y'all to only, after scoring so many points all year, that you only low-scoring game?
Well, they had a real good scrappy defense, and we fumbled the ball a few times at pivotal times that really hurt us. And it just, bottom line, wasn't meant to be.
And mine,
period.
When you know, they hit your arm and that interception, they ran it back. Danny Dickens said that all night long, the linebacker had been coming in on him.
Yeah.
He had been picking him up.
Yeah.
That time, the tackle and the linebacker came in on him, and
Yeah.
nobody picked him up.
We just never worked against blitz, anything like that. And they took advantage, and it was smart on them. And we just never made adjustments from it. You know,
We
bottom
had
line to it.
fumbles, penalties,
Yeah.
and like that.
So being a White Oak quarterback, did teachers let you skip some tests or not turn homework in?
Well, no, I had to turn everything in, but in all honesty, it was my biggest regret of not being a better student. There's a reason behind that at home, but I don't really want to talk about. It's too personal. That kept me from wanting to be that nobody knew, and involving my dad that just didn't, you know, you're a football, but don't worry about it, you know. And what I went to, you know, it's just too personal, and respect for my family. But no, I had to do. There was no such thing as skipping class, and I had to do all my homework. And there is a, I mean, I can't sit here and deny there was no doubt that teachers worked with me, but it was their way of helping me because they saw at that time what I didn't see, you know. And so I'm very, 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 to this day, I have my college degree hanging on my wall, and it's the biggest joke in town because of what they gave me. But it's a reminder of I'm the only one that's going to be done in this family. I got 3 kids, and they're all very intelligent. They all got their college degree because I told them, I said, they ain't going to be but one dummy, you know, and you are going to study. So, you know, if somebody had to pay the price, I'd rather be me.
Boys or girls?
Got one son. He played college ball. Concussion stopped him. He now pastors a church in Houston.
Where did he play at?
He played at Central Arkansas,
Okay.
and tough as nails. And
I see you posting on Twitter your grandson playing QB.
he's
Looks like he's going to be taken after.
He's 6 years old, and he plays against 8-year-olds, and he's quick as a cat, tough as nails, and fearless. And quarterback, just like me, on offense, and middle linebacker on defense. And he makes just about every play.
Does he know Grandpa was a NFL legend at one time?
Yeah, I think to him, but it'd be wonderful if you could skip kids and just have grandkids. Yeah.
So after all these years, what has it been like? You know, have you enjoyed the notoriety of being a local legend in White Oak?
Well, you know, I hadn't been back here all that much. I don't know if anybody, unless you're 65 and older, I doubt if there's anybody here that remembers me.
Well, that's what this is for. These young guys, the 16 should be retired.
We
better worry about 22 first.
16 and 22 is on the list.
22.
Roy Bruce.
Roy Bruce.
Oh,
You know about him.
Do you believe his number should be retired?
absolutely. It's like, it's bottom line. Forget his name. He played tight end in the league before and now he was in the booth beginning my career. And he introduced me on TV. I was told after the game, hey, I didn't know you was from Longview, Texas. I said, what do you mean, Longview, Texas? I'm from White Oak. Well, so-and-so announced you, Mike Barber from Longview, Texas. And I found that, God, what's his name? He played tight end. It starts with a T. Anyway, I said, hey, I want to correct you with something. If you ever announce our games from now, I'm not from Longview. I'm from White Oak. And don't forget that. You know, it means something to me. I don't care how successful I am. I'm not going to forget about my roots. Because if you don't have roots, you got nothing.
That's right.
And for White Oak. So anyhow, guys, I really need to.
Yes, sir. I got one more question for you. If there was a young 7th, 8th grader that's playing football, his dreams of being a Roughneck as a high school athlete, wants to be a quarterback, wants to follow in the footsteps of a legend, what would you tell the young kid right now that's preparing for high school? Words of advice.
It's real easy. It's all about attitude. And this is probably what I'll tell the team. Attitude, the first letter A is the first letter in the alphabet. The T's are number 20. The U is 21. The I is 9. D and E is 4 and 5. You put those numbers together, it equals exactly 100. Attitude is 100% in your success. If you grab a hold of that attitude, I'm going to be a winner. This is what I'm going to be. And the bottom line, you grab a hold of a can-do attitude in the midst of a can't-do atmosphere. You hold on to it and don't let anybody rob your dream. That's exactly what I had to do. You know, I didn't have an easy road. I made some stupid decisions, you know, like any kid does. Mm-hmm. But I never lost my vision all along the way, and I was successful. And so any young man listening to this, you know, grab a hold of that attitude. Who you hang around with is important. If you hang around with the wrong crowd, it will bite you. 1 in every 6 of our youth today will be locked up in prison. And it's because of drugs, hanging out with the wrong people. And probably 40% of the 2.3 that are in prison today didn't do anything, but they were in association with the person at the wrong place of crime, and they were put in prison. They're in prison today because of wrong association. Who you hang out with is everything, and it starts with an attitude of doing right.
You heard it first from Mike Barber, legendary Roughneck quarterback. Mike, we really appreciate it here. Reppin Sessions podcast,
Mike,
episode 6.
Let me say one thing. Mike, I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate you being a teammate of mine, and don't think I don't ever forget you and all your kindnesses.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being with us.
Yes, sir. Reppin Sessions podcast, episode 6. Thank you so much.
Roll, Roughnecks, roll.